start out this video by explaining to you that I live in South Los Angeles. In times past, it was known as South Central Los Angeles. And if you recognize that name, that term, you recognize it was the larger community of South Los Angeles affected by gang violence, the drug trade, and everything else that's described in the movies like Boys in the Hood, Menace to Society, and other movies. But those of us who lived in this area for how long, that was an everyday occurrence to us. It was a fact of life that someone like myself could be shot or killed because of the article of clothing that I wore, being approached by red or the blue members who may not particularly like me, and also by the passing bullet of a car driving by, ending my life. I'm going to share something with you. I don't think I've ever shared this with any of you in my previous channels, but let me just say this. I was a youth basketball coach back in the 1980s, and my local YMCA. And there was a member on my team who, you guys from the local neighborhood, he came and we were very successful at the time. He was on the team, but he also lived a block away from me. He was a very quiet young man, very friendly. Wasn't one of those quote unquote gang kids. I'll get to that in a minute. And very much a gentleman. I would say in the mid to late 80s, while he walked his girlfriend home, being that gentleman, I think it was a Valentine's Day dance or whatever, he was walking his girlfriend home. A car drove up and shot him. He was just another victim in a long line of young men and women in my neighborhood who, when I walk the streets every single day, I'm walking right by the site where he died. And I'm wondering, is this the corner where my friend passed away? Is this the street? And yes, it is. And every single day, or when I do get a chance to walk in that same street, in the same block, I'm always reminding myself of that. This is where he died. In this area, especially the area that I lived in back then, it was living under hardship, living under a sense that how long can this go on? It can't go on forever. And there were questions in our minds, those of us who lived here. Questions of when is it going to end? When is it going to stop? When are these brothers going to stop shooting each other? When is this going to be a solution to all this? And you may have heard from many people. In fact, we heard from many people, pastors and community leaders and politicians and everyone else who walked and talked about the community. We had two newspapers in the LA area. One newspaper spent a week dealing with it, and it wasn't the Times. The Times would never, to my recollection, never presented an issue or a series of how to solve the problem. It was the other, smaller newspaper, Herald Examiner, that dealt with the problem and explained it to all the readership through community leaders and those individuals in the community who are working in this area, how to solve the problem. And unfortunately, nothing did solve the problem. It took an act of 4 police officers against one unarmed black man. That was filmed. That the forces who backed the blue tried to erase it. And even to this day, every time I bring this up to someone in the comment section, maybe you, not sure, will come up with an opinion about what happened. But there's no denying we all saw what happened. I think it's our interpretation of what happened that's a little cloudy. So that was one of the reasons why the violence in the community kind of stopped. I would say the actions of April 29th were also a reason why the violence stopped in this area. But I would say it's not what you think it is. It wasn't from the acts of individuals that decided to take matters into their own hands, allegedly. It was the fact that a jury reminded the young man who participated in that violence in the community who they were and what they're all about. That to the larger society and to a place outside of the community, they don't mean anything. Think about what happened to the young lady Karen Toshima back in Westwood in 1988. Of course, the violence was happily contained until that young lady unfortunately lost her life. And LAPD committed itself to putting the screws down on citizens of South Central Los Angeles. There's a reason why John Singleton would film Boys in the Hood and told it from his point of view, his story, his experience, and why it's such a great movie today. There's a reason why Menace to Society also should be considered a classic for its realism. There's no Hollywood happy endings about it. The reality is the reality that's always been. Dealing with hardship. Dealing with times when you know it's tough and you know things can never get better because that's just the way things are. I experienced that myself when I wrote an article back in college. Life Goes On in South LA, which you can also find in the Voices of South Central. Writing my honest opinion about the community and what goes on here and the economic disparity that we never have because places have moved on. But again, it's all part of dealing with hardship. The loss of a friend, the violence that goes on in the community, the media that shows that violence and tries to tell the larger society this is a problem and we all have to do something about this. And even the fact that law enforcement decided to end it in a way that no one suspected, no one even thought could happen. So I've taken all this time to say what's going on now in 2025. Full of hardship, full of pain, full of anger. But I'm reminded that this is nothing new. It's always happened and was going to happen this way because this is the way life is. And there's certain mindsets in the society that even though they wanted to go back to a time where things were great, nothing was great. It's always been hardship for certain communities in this country. So greatness to them means it's something elusive that can never be caught or captured or bottled. There's nothing wrong with prayer. There's nothing wrong with appealing to the Lord our God to ask for a solution. But it also involves each and every one of us to say that this isn't right. Something has to be done. Yes, we kind of bristle at politicians who say one thing and then they back off when it's go time, when they attack members of the media who are just doing their jobs, right? Or not. We're just looking and seeing how things are going to develop. Talking heads on the networks, right? The networks are saying what's going down. Not fully understanding you and we put ourselves in a situation. We're the ones that caused all this to happen. So, as we've seen recently, people are starting to stand up and people are starting to speak with their voices, their hearts, their minds. They're using this medium. They're using the power of marching. They're using the power of free speech to express their displeasure of the direction that's being taken right now. They don't like what's going on. They don't like these changes. And unlike what happened in this community way back when, this involves the larger society. Now, the larger society is suffering. The larger society is being told by those in power to get over it. Much like we were told way back when, get over it. So what? People die every single day. What's so different about your community? Well, guess what? The larger community, as in 2025, is suffering. And guess what? It's deja vu all over again. I could tell you that at my grand old age now, I wish for a brighter day. I wish for times when we can just discuss and talk and, I can have a conversation with someone who may think differently than I do. When I can just go on a social media platform, just say what I say. If someone has a disagreement, you message me privately. You talk with me. We have a conversation. You may not agree with what I have to say, and that's okay. That's your right. But I may not agree with everything you have to say without being shouted or called names or all of that. That's childish to me. We live in one planet, in one world, in one life. And we're going to disagree no matter what. My word is not definite and your word is not definite. It's a matter of opinion. And that's the way it always should be. But I can tell you from my experience, my story, living in South Los Angeles, all these years, born and raised here, very proud resident, very proud citizen of this community, that we have gone through some hardships and we've gone through some troubles. But we've also gone through some triumphs as well. We've had the extreme lows, but we're starting to see a better way of life in the community that I live in. I no longer have to worry about walking down the street and someone shooting me, a drive-by shooting. I mean, it happens still occasionally, but it's not like every single time I walk out that door, I'm wondering who's going to shoot me. Am I going to make it through this night? Am I going to walk down the block and not have anyone come after me? Excuse me. And I'm not going to be approached by individuals telling me where I'm from or who I belong to, which group, right? I can walk down the street, someone of a different ethnicity says hi to me, I say hi back, we're cool with each other, and that's the way it should be. And I understand most of you don't have that experience. Most of you watching me right now are unfamiliar with my life growing up in this community. And that's okay. That's why I write books and poems and stories to show you that so you will understand. But I really believe that if we just listen to each other instead of shouting to each other, maybe we'll learn that it's not all about us, that where I live may be different from where you live, but learning through hardship is one of the things that made me who I am today. But it made me a better person because I had to go through that. And based on what we're going through right now in this country, maybe what we're going through will make us all better people in the end, down the road. Maybe we'll just convince us that we just turn dark. Hey, guess what? That's all where we're ever going to be. That's all we're going to be. And we show we have light in us, and we want to express that and just show other people that we're humane and we're human, and we just have what we need to be kind to each other. I think that will be a possibility. But we have to be brave, have the courage to show that instead of just giving into that base instinct and being nasty to people because so and so is nasty. It's a challenge. Each and every one of us is going to have to prove that we're up to the challenge. No matter where we are, no matter where we live, no matter who we talk to, no matter who's a neighbor. And that's all I wanted to share with you. I would like to thank you for listening for all this time. I hope that you heard something that will inspire you, encourage you as we go through these rough times and days. I just want to say, hang in there, have faith, pray if you have to, just though everything will be right in. If you like what you've seen, please don't forget to like or subscribe. Also click the banner above to go to my website and find out other projects I'm involved in. But I want to wish each and every one of you a good day, a good evening, a good week, and always in closing, take care.